to our latest episode of Dr. Phyllis. Today we will be discussing a very important topic that affects all of us. And here is my lovely co-host, Kristen Lewis, with more details.
Thank you, Dr. Phyllis. Nature, how does it affect us all here today? There are moments in our lives when nature brings us comfort, and also moments when it causes us pain and misery.
Yes, that's very true. Could we have someone in the audience that would like to share their experience, positive experience with nature? Yes, ma'am. Can I get your name?
Hi, my name's Sally, and my husband George, he cheated on me a few years ago. I realize this isn't positive, by the way, but anyways, he cheated on me, and for all, I was just so devastated that, I had nobody to turn to. I felt like the world was against me, and just so then one day I just decided to...
And then she decided to take a walk and admire nature. In her thoughts, she was thinking, happy, happy earth, fit habitation for gods. My spirits were elevated by the enchanting appearance of nature. The past was blotted from my memory. The present was tranquil, and the future gilded by bright rays of hope and anticipations of joy.
And, it sounds a little bit cliche, but, just taking a walk outside and enjoying nature, breathing in the fresh air, it really helps you think about what's more important in life. And I'm just really glad that I could, use nature to my advantage. So, thank you.
Wow, that was truly an inspirational story. I'm glad that you shared that with us.
Wow. So, I know that some people have had positive experiences with nature, but there's definitely a lot of negative experience as well. So, could we maybe have an audience member share a negative aspect of nature with us? Yes, ma'am. Can I get your name, please?
Hi, my name is Megan, and usually I go on nature walks, I go on hikes, and I contemplate about life. Unfortunately, I had a death in the family, and I was contemplating it as I was taking a walk. And then...
The very winds whispered in soothing accents, and maternal nature bade me weep no more. Then again the kindly influence ceased to act. I found myself fettered again to grief and indulging in all the miseries of reflection.
So basically, I used to turn to nature as a refuge, but ever since that experience, I kind of don't go outside anymore, and I just avoid nature altogether.
Wow, Megan, it's really unfortunate to hear that story, and I'm truly sorry that you had to go through that experience. But as we know, life doesn't always go as we plan, and nature is usually indifferent towards our personal problems. So now I'd like to hand it over to Dr. Phyllis.
Thank you, Kristen. Going along as what she was saying, sometimes nature isn't actually really good for us. Is there anyone in the audience that has experienced a time when they were really depressed and they felt like everything and everyone in the world was going against them and they just wanted to die alone and end their misery? Yes, ma'am with the sweater. Can I hear your story?
Oh, thank you, Dr. Phyllis, for calling on me. My name is Clarice, and I suffer from depression. Sometimes when I'm by myself, I feel like, does anybody care that I'm alive? I mean, I see nature, and it's also indifferent, and, sometimes at night I go out and look at the stars, and I think, would anybody ever notice if I was gone? I mean, sometimes I just wish that, I weren't here anymore.
I wept bitterly, and clasping my hands in agony, I exclaimed, "O stars and clouds and winds, ye are all about to make me. If ye really pity me, crush sensation and memory. Let me become as naught, but if not, depart, depart, and leave me in darkness." Wow, so how did you ever recover from that terrible experience with nature?
Well, Dr. Phyllis, it was a really hard time in my life. I realized that no one is an island, there's always someone out there who can help you. So I turned to a therapist, and they taught me that, just because nature is so vast doesn't mean that I'm on my own and that I should view nature as a bad thing. So, whenever I find myself in another state of depression, I just have to remind myself that I'm not in this alone, and to turn to nature in a more positive way. Okay, so our next topic, we're going to discuss maybe a lesson that nature has taught us in our past, because especially as children, we think that we're invincible and that nature can never hurt us. So I'd like to ask if an audience member has a story that they would like to share about a lesson that nature has taught them. So would anyone like to share? Yes. Can you tell us your name and your story?
Hello, my name is Kimberly, and when I was younger, I never really listened to my mother. I kind of was a little bit rebellious, and she always told me to be careful around nature. And I figured, why be careful around nature? I mean, what is there to be afraid of? And unfortunately, I had some sort of event.
One day, when I was oppressed by cold, I found a fire which had been left, and was overcome with delight at the warmth I experienced from it. In my joy, I thrust my hand into the live embers, but quickly drew it out again with a cry of pain. How strange, I thought, that the same cause should produce such opposite effects. Interesting story, Kimberly. Would you like to tell us what the lesson was that you learned?
Well, I learned that nature can be very unpredictable, and that kids should probably listen to their parents, and you should respect nature around us and try not to thwart with it. And now we would like to conclude our show with one last story. Has anyone out there in the audience ever been enlightened by nature? Have ever, experienced nature and had a completely different view about life?
Yes, ma'am. Come tell us about what you learned from nature. Okay, so my name is Jessica, and I'm a student at the university here, and I'm studying literature and also philosophy. And, I realized that I was spending so much time on my studies and not actually experiencing, why nature really is beautiful and what it means to be alive and, be a part of the world. So I decided to start traveling, and that's when I come to realize that
she was alive to every new scene. Joyful when she saw the beauties of the setting sun, and more happy when she beheld it rise and recommence a new day. This is what it is to live, she cried. Now I enjoy existence.
So basically, what I've come to realize is that, every sunset and every sunrise is beautiful, and we should all cherish each day. Studying and working and having a career is all very important, but what makes life meaningful is that you actually experience nature and realize what it has to offer for us. So that's my enlightenment about nature.
Thank you for sharing that intellectual experience with nature.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'd just like to conclude our show today by saying that nature in all its glory is actually quite indifferent to us as human beings. The only reason we view it positively or negatively is based on our individual experiences and just how we view life. So it's important to know that if you're ever having a bad day, just get out there in nature, appreciate it, live each day to its fullest, and you will have a more meaningful life.
And that concludes this episode of Dr. Phyllis. Good night, America, and
stay classy!